Tashavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Read the verse number 14. Matra sparshastu kaunteya Shitoshna sukha dukkhadaha Agama payino nityaha Tam stitikshasva bharata. Agama apayinaha. He Bharata, he Arjuna, all these experiences which create pleasure and pain or happiness and sorrow, the experiences may keep on changing, of course, and your judgment also keeps on changing. One thing is certain, that they are subject to beginning and end. They are fleeting experiences, that nothing is constant. Everything comes and goes like a wheel that goes up and down. So also the various situations come and go. Even if a situation causes in you the reaction of happiness and unhappiness, it will cause provided you think that this is permanent. Understand that even when I say this is unfavorable, we just describe the mechanism of how a reaction takes place. That an event or situation comes before us, which is an experience. And next thing we do is we brand that experience as desirable or undesirable, favorable or unfavorable. And then moment we brand it as favorable, automatically the reaction happens that I am happy. And when I brand it as unfavorable, the reaction happens unhappiness. Meaning that as far as the reactions of happiness and unhappiness is concerned, I have no choice. The choice is in terms of my branding them as favorable and unfavorable. I brand them. This is where we have a choice. So everything does not happen. That is something where we also participate. That situations come before us, they happen. But that the situation is judged by me as desirable, undesirable. That is my judgment. And that is where I have the freedom not to judge. In the words of Pujya Swamiji, we always have freedom for a two-step response. One-step response is as soon as a situation or event happens or experience happens, I brand it as I like it, I dislike it, it is good, it is bad, desirable, undesirable. That judgment immediately happens. And as soon as the judgment happens, then there is no choice, then happiness and unhappiness reactions will happen. So that is where alertness is required. I have to watch the tendency of my mind to habitually brand things or judge things. It's a habitual thing. That moment something happens, I judge, I brand. So this is where I can create a distance. Okay, this situation. Why am I branding it as favorable, unfavorable? Does it deserve to be branded that way? I remind myself, after all, what is the situation? As Lord Krishna says, Agama payinaha. It is a transient situation. It is something that is subject to coming and going. It is impermanent. And therefore, it does not deserve for me to take it very seriously. Only when I take it very seriously, then only I brand that as I like or do not like it. But a lot of things happen and we don't even bother about them. And second thing is, as we've been saying, that happiness and unhappiness again happen when I connect myself with them. Somebody behaves in a certain way, let us say, which I interpret as an insult, let us put it this way. Even that insult also need not necessarily cause sorrow in me or unhappiness in me. If I do not connect the I with that, means it is not insult that makes me unhappy, I am insulted, that's what makes me unhappy. Not just the success, I am successful. Not just the failure, I am a failure. The happiness and sorrow, both of them are centered upon I, they are not centered upon situations. What is happening is that what really belongs to a situation, I habitually connect with I and I judge myself. Even if we judge the situation as insult or as loss and gain, that a situation is success and failure, so long as it's okay. Even that also need not create a reaction of happiness and unhappiness in me. But another step that happens is that situation is called failure, and the next step is I am the failure. It is I who has failed is the cause, so is unhappiness. I alone am the cause of my happiness, and I am the cause of unhappiness. Not a situation. So first I judge the situation as success and failure, and secondly I judge myself as successful and failure, and then react with happiness and unhappiness. So now we have a choice. First of all, you should not even brand the situation as success and failure, but that we do, let us say. Because Swamiji, failure is a failure, success, okay. Let us say that somebody humiliated, somebody said something that is humiliating, something that is insulting, something that is honoring. But I do not have to connect myself with that, meaning that I don't have to make that as an occasion of judging myself, that I am insulted. That insult, I can keep myself free from that insult. It is insult. Failure. Success. As long as I does not get connected, so long there is no reaction in me. Because failure does not make me unhappy. I am the failure, that is the cause of my unhappiness. Success doesn't make me happy. I am successful, that is the cause of my reaction. And therefore be alert and not judge the I. Ideally, not even judge the situation. That's a big thing. So that comes later. But Lord Krishna says that even success and failure also need not be so judged, because they are simply outcomes, and success is my perception, failure also is my perception. What it is an effort and an outcome. What it is a situation. That it is success and failure, honor and dishonor is my branding that situation. And even that is not so bad as when from that situation I brand myself as I am humiliated, I am insulted, I failed, I lost, I am no good. So when I judge myself as no good, that is when I become unhappy, sad. So two-step response. That create a distance, that failure belongs there. It is the outcome that is a failure. There is no reason for me to brand myself a failure. I do not have to take the responsibility of what is there, and therefore keep the object as object and subject as subject. When that distance is erased, when the subject, the I, becomes identified with the object, the situation, that is when the problem happens. If I maintain the distinction that gain and loss is the nature of situation, success and failure is nature of situation, honor and dishonor is nature of situation. That person said something, okay. Now, that person said something honorable, something dishonorable, but that I am honor or dishonor is my judgment. We have freedom not to do that. This is where the free will comes into play. We have free will. Human beings have free will. And that's not a lot of free will. Because there is nothing I can do as far as situation is concerned. It just happens, I have no freedom. Where I have freedom is in not making situation an occasion to judge myself. That's what we habitually do, judging ourselves. And that is what causes the sadness. So, if we can do that, that's the two-step response. Swamiji, I keep on all the time becoming and reacting happy and happy and happy. Now we get exhausted. If there is consistently unhappiness, then also you will develop you can develop a resilience to that. Then all right, I know it's all unhappy. Then perhaps you can get used to that. It's consistently happiness, you can get used to that. But happiness, unhappiness. Happiness, unhappiness. This kind of torture is happening, and that is what makes me exhausted, and that is where we age, And that is where we have the freedom. So titiksha can be putting up with it in an intelligent way. Arjuna, do not judge yourself based on the situation, because whenever you interact with the world, some experience will happen. As best as possible, do not brand the experience as favorable, unfavorable. That also I have freedom. It's an experience. Even if the branding happens favorable, and I am favored or I am unfavored, that's a second judgment. Two judgments are involved. One is judging the situation, and second is judging myself. We have freedom in not doing that. Suppose then also it happens. Lord Krishna says, Tam stitikshasva, you endure them. Bear them. That this will go away. Heat also will go away. Cold also will go away. Success also will go away. Failure also will go away. Everything will go away. Nothing is permanent. Everything is transitory. And therefore, let the wheel of situations keep on moving down, up and down, and you remain just a witness to the situation. So titiksha here, or forbearance, is ability to really endure things. You raise your endurance limit. That little insult doesn't just put you down. I mean, little things happen and we react so, our reaction is out of proportion. So just because somebody did not smile, that my whole day is gone, I keep on thinking about it. How come? Did not smile at me. I think it doesn't like me. What did I do? And it goes on and on. And generally speaking, all those things are much lasting effect than somebody's smile. That I easily forget. Someone does not smile, that we always remember. We keep complaining about what we don't have because we have no value for what we have. So that doesn't matter to us. It's there. What's the big deal? That I'm walking. What's the big deal? But now my knee is paining. Paining. Every time I keep on complaining then, but all these years we're walking and even with little bit limp you're still walking, That is, no. So what I do not have occupies so much of my attention and my reaction that there is no value for what all I have. You count your blessings. So thus there are many ways of remaining free from reacting to the situation. What is meant by titiksha or forbearance is the ability to maintain the equanimity of our mind, the balance of our mind in spite of the changing situations. So Viveka Chudamani describes titiksha. Sahanam sarvadukhanam apratikara purvakam chinta vilaparahedam sa titiksha nigadyate. Lord Krishna also uses the word titikshasva, means titiksha. Titiksha means enduring something, forbearing something, forbearance. Endurance is titiksha. So what is titiksha according to Viveka Chudamani? Sahanam sarva dukkhanam, putting up with all the pain without reaction. So what are the kind of reactions that we have? Whenever dukkha comes, whenever unhappiness comes, whenever what I call unfavorable comes, then what do? Pratika, right away I retaliate. I feel little warm, I start doing, this. That's called retaliating with discomfort. Little cold comes, I wrap around myself. I'm not saying you don't do that. All I'm saying is what is meant by retaliation. You serve me food, right? May I have salt? Retaliation. I must put salt to make it, to suit my taste. That is called retaliation. Well, too much salt. May I have some yogurt? To dilute that. Again. So, in retaliation all the time. What is retaliation? Trying to make an unfavorable situation favorable. Either to avoid or get rid of the unfavorable situation, or to make it, or to manipulate it to make it favorable. In one or the other way, I retaliate. What happens with the retaliation is that it takes my time and attention. That situation occupies my mind, and at that time, in the context of self-knowledge, the titiksha also is prescribed as a value. What is a means of self-knowledge is constantly contemplating upon the nature of the self, that my mind should be really focused upon the self that I want to know. But this thing keeps on distracting me. Moment I react to something, my mind is distracted. From the self, it goes to non-self. So these situations seems to have capacity, and they keep on happening. Even favorable situation also I react. I want to hold on to it. Temperature is right, okay. So, or something is good. I want it to be there. Our problem is when happiness comes, then also there is a problem because we want it to stay. Lord Krishna says, Agama Apai, that also will go away. Unhappiness wants to come and I do not want it to come, so I struggle. Happiness wants to go away, I want to hold on it, again struggle. Meaning that we are constantly struggling in both the situations, happiness and unhappiness, and therefore, where is the time now for Vedanta? Where is the time for self? Where is the time for anything? that you should be doing. So Lord Krishna says that let not these situations and experiences distract you. What is titiksha? Let them come and go. Put up with them. No reaction. It is hot, let it be. Cold, let it be. Insult, let it be. Honor, let it be. Dishonor, let it be. Become thick-skinned, Here becoming thick-skinned. Little skin must be made somewhat thick, otherwise we become so sensitive that little thing and we react. People are so touchy. Always very careful with some people because you never know when they will get upset with you. It's like walking on eggshells, they say, so we always. But that's how our mind is. At what time it will react, we just do not know. Constantly keeps on reacting. And therefore, don't become so touchy and so sensitive. Develop some insensitivity towards unhappiness. And so develop the capacity to put up with what you do not like, what is unfavorable, because that is the reality of life. And our Swami used to say, we have to teach our children that unpleasantness also is the reality of life. Of course, we have to learn first, but then why children? Because we pamper them so much. The world is not going to treat them like that. Every year mother feeds him and everything is, the world is not going to treat the children that way, so there will be unpleasantness. Unpleasantness also is a reality of life. Our Swami say that the only way to deal with the pain is to become bigger than the pain. This we have to do. This is one of titiksha or endurance is one of the important values of Vedanta. You know the Samadhi Shatka Sampatti. Shama, Dama, Uparama, Titiksha. So Lord Krishna mentions one value that implies all other values, by the way. Arjuna, may you develop this Shama, Dama, Uparama, Titiksha, may you cultivate this. But that is the kind of disposition of mind that we require for benefiting from the knowledge, from the Upadesha. The Upadesha or teaching is imparted to us, then we can benefit from that provided we have a mind which is a receptive mind, which is disposed to favorably receive what the teacher says and retain it and be able to dwell upon that and then assimilate that and benefit from that. So tam stitiksha bharata. Ideally, do not brand the situation. What is Ishvara's prasad. Success also is prasada, Ishvara's grace. Failure also is prasada. Favorable also prasada, unfavorable also prasada. If you want to brand, Ishvara's grace. This is Ishvara prasada. Ishvara's grace comes in this way, it can come in any way. Some prasada can be bitter also sometimes. Sometimes they serve you the neem juice. Do you know what is neem juice? How bitter it is? On the first day of the new year, there is only New Year day. On the first day of month of Chaitra. So in North India is called New Year day. That day is celebrated by offering the Lord this bitter juice of neem, which we are supposed to drink ultimately, because what is offered to the Lord comes to us. It's supposed to be very, very healthy. During that month of Chaitra, they say that if you develop the habit of for the whole month, suppose every day, take a little bit of this bitter juice, you will not fall sick for the whole year. So they say you will not have fever for the whole year. Anyway, but the point is the prasada can be bitter also. That's how this Lord is giving you this situation, it is His prasada, and therefore accept it gracefully. Graceful action means not reaction. So reaction is the problem. Experience not a problem, reaction is the problem. So Arjuna's question was that, O Lord, even if, because Atma is eternal nitya, therefore there is no death for the Atma, therefore death does not anymore remain an issue now as far as grief is concerned. But this constant day-to-day experiences, they cause pleasure and pain, or happiness and sorrow, and therefore they cause grief. What about them? So Lord Krishna gave a very pragmatic answer that they come and go, and therefore do not pay much attention to them. Do not try to change them. Do not react. Do not retaliate. Because all along our habit is to make things comfortable to us. And so you go into a house and then work for 1 year to fix this and fix that, and get this furniture is not there, not this carpet is changed, this painting is changed, color is changed, everything is changes to suit me. Like our 2 years mind says, no, this color is, it's too long, and then the furniture is too old. Our mind is what it is. Meaning that if you all the time try to manipulate and change things to make them suitable, then the whole life will go in that only, you will have no time for anything else. So let them be what they are. Somebody says a house, there's a hole in the wall, so something is there, for you to, let it be. When it becomes too much, then you change it, all right. When, the plumbing does not work, too much of leakage is there, the shower is all plugged up or is disconnected, then all right, you do something about it. As long as you put up with it, put up with them. This is what Lord Krishna is teaching. I'm not telling you. That's what Lord Krishna is saying. That don't keep on all the time reacting and then retaliating and then changing, so everything must be perfect. I cannot put up with anything, it must be right. So this man every evening came home and he half an hour went because his wife rearranged something. He rearranges everything, Puts this thing like that. Yes. Literally, this is what happened. I saw this. His half an hour went into this. Somehow, this flower being here is some problem, and therefore it has to be like this, otherwise it can't be comfortable. The clock has to be at this angle, and if it's not, I'm not comfortable. You become so sensitive to everything, you empower everything has the capacity to disturb you. This has to be like that. It must be in the center, Must be. So engineers have other problems. And that must be all. Symmetry must be there, and this must be there. Everybody has their own kinds of problems. Anyway. Let it be. If it serves the purpose, let it be. Nowadays, the technology, in the olden days, 50, 60 years ago, in the newspapers, when some event happened in distance, there will be some kind of picture on the front page to give you an idea of what happened. But every time you don't have the luxury of a photograph coming and being processed and printed, there's no time. This is what they call radio photo. It's not very clear, but just tells you what it is in general. So sometimes that is also okay, as long as it serves the purpose. Important is it should serve the purpose. And then otherwise life will keep on occupying your mind, keep you all the time busy and distracted, and you will not have time to do what is really to be done. So this titiksha, where will it lead you to? In the next verse, Lord Krishna says. So here, by the way, I told you that, I pointed out that Lord Krishna addresses Arjuna as Kaunteya and Bharata. So these two names says here that Kaunteya means what? The son of Kunti. And so Bharata is one coming down, the descendant of Bharata. So by birth as well as by descendants, Arjuna enjoys an excellence. So Arjuna, you are enjoying excellence both ways, and therefore this for you, this. So sometimes Lord Krishna deliberately calls Arjuna by certain names to encourage him. There's no problem for you. Now, if this is being done, Shitoshnadin sahatah kim syat. As Lord Krishna says, one puts up with me. What is meant by putting up with that? They do not create any reaction in you. That's what is meant by putting up. Things are happening, they're happening. Otherwise, when people come to United States, this old lady came, this is 50 years ago. Says, your house is too noisy. There's a radiator, which keeps on spewing something every so often. And these houses are all made of wood. Somebody opens a tap there and you hear, the whole house hears, when you take shower, then everybody knows that because it's all, that is how things are. And when you come in spring, then somebody is cutting branches and somebody is mowing lawn, all kinds of noises are there. And there's a time of maintenance, the people keep on hammering. So spring has its own kinds of noises. Summer has its own kinds of noises. Only winter is a quiet period. But it's noisy. Put up with that. Otherwise you wait. Now when will this fellow stop? So he has started his, what is it? Pruning the branch. So I'm now I will wait until he gets over. Until I cannot do what I'm doing. Then he comes right in front of me and starts his lawnmower. In fact, in India, some of our friends have their apartments in this place is called Vilepala and Santa Cruz, which is where the airports are. Every 3 minutes one plane goes. And when a plane passes, you can't hear anything. So then plane passes, everybody has to keep quiet for 2-3 minutes. That will keep on happening. Don't pay attention to this. This will be there. That's how world is. That's how noises are. That's how things are. And if you take them too seriously, then you will be all the time disturbed. You try to drive your vehicle in the roads of Ahmedabad, tremendous tension. Nobody follows any rules, and everybody cuts everybody else. And if you pay attention to those things, you keep on screaming. This fellow, he's coming for you as he keeps on screaming. I said, you keep quiet. That's how things are. But he will cut you. And then what happens is they scratch you also. Your car and the scooter goes. They don't care because there is 3 inches. They want to use every inch of space. And so they will insert their scooter in between there. So he will scratch both the sides and then escape. And here you keep complaining. This is how it is. Somebody told me that in New Delhi there is no vehicle at all which will not have a dent in the first month or two. You will have. If you are living in Delhi, you will have a dent in your car. So these are the things. So not only Brahman is a reality, but this is also reality of life, Vyavaharik reality, which you cannot control. God give me serenity to accept gracefully what I cannot control, and you cannot control this world. Adhyatmika, Adhibhautika, Adhidevika. My body paining here today, is there, it's going on. Adhibhautika, as I said, Here different kind of noises, and in India different kind of noises. And loudspeakers are there, and rickshawalas are there, and they blare their tape recorders and stuff like that. So when a rickshaw passes, he declares, there is a loud sound of what the song that he is playing. The truck comes and they think that blowing the horn, he enjoys that, at 3:30 in the morning, not realizing what happens. That's how it is. Now you can, now there are dogs which keep on barking. You can't complain about it. This is what it is. So when we were in the ashram, this man who had come from Canada, he used to give a heap of rocks with him. At night he will wake up and those dogs are barking. He'll keep on throwing to drive them. Poor fellow. He could not sleep. We did not notice that, but he could not sleep. Those who are grown in India, the barking of dogs is a natural, usual thing, And so I guess you develop some kind of resistance to those things. But Tam Stitikshasva, Lord Krishna says that this is how life is. That is how the world is. This is how the people are. This is what it is. And it is all right as it is. Why is it like that? It's in order. What Swamiji would say, why is he shouting? In order. Why does he behave like that? In order. Why doesn't he do that? In order. You do not make it your business, that's all. Let it be their business. Don't make anything your business. The moment I make it my business, I get affected. I don't connect it's all right. Titiksha enables me to maintain a disposition of mind where I have the freedom to do what I want to do, and not that the situations dictate what the disposition of my mind is. I maintain a reasonably composed disposition in the changing situations. That's an excellent training, because ultimately if we develop the ability to maintain the composure of tranquility of the mind, that tranquility, the absolute tranquility is self-knowledge, understand? First, tranquility is a state of mind. Ultimately, that tranquility will lead you to the knowledge of Atma, that is absolute tranquility. Our Swami used to say that Atma is of the nature of love, so you need to be relatively loving to know the Atma that is love. Atma is the nature of happiness, so you have to be relatively happy in order to recognize the Atma that is happiness. Is it not so? So you can't discover love through the corridor of hatred. Thus we have to learn to maintain the tranquility of the mind, because Atma is of nature of absolute tranquility. So tranquility of mind is relative tranquility. The relative tranquility can ultimately become the means of knowing the absolute tranquility. So next verse, Lord Krishna tells us the reward of this titiksha. What do I get by putting up with things? So Lord Krishna says, 15th verse. Other way of doing also is that this is a tapascharya. You can look upon your life. Tapascharya means penance. This is penance. Noise is coming from there, penance. Insult is coming from there, penance. It's too hot, penance. Too sour, penance. Too salty, penance. Then you get the result of tapascharya also. So all of this suffering can be also looked upon as tapascharya. Tapas means santapa, means putting, means suffering. But suffering also can be looked upon as the opportunity Ishvara has given me to perform penance. Because the rishis used to go there and deliberately expose themselves to heat and cold, and they come to you, you follow. People who want to perform, rishis went to forest to perform penance. At home you can't have tapascharya. Forest means most uncomfortable situation. Either too hot, too cold, raining. So you go there, they come to you. Never let the situations be interpreted as opportunity for me to perform penance. And then, so the person who has thus become rooted in the beginning, we have to make a deliberate effort. A time comes when you get rooted into this endurance, meaning that nothing bothers you at all. So when a person attains that kind of mind where he is not bothered by anything, so then what is the reward? Lord Krishna says in the 15th chapter, Yam hina vyathayantyete purusham purusharshabha samadukha sukham dhiram so mrutatvaya kalpate. Yam hi ete na vyathayan. Yam hi na vyathayanti ete. Ete is the, what is the singular, dual, plural, what is ete? What form is that? Dual. Of what word? Etat. Ete means this two. Which two? Sukha dukkha. Or pleasure and pain. So pairs of opposites. What we confront constantly are called dvandva or pairs of opposites that are referred to in this verse as ete. These pairs of opposites. Yam na vyathayanti. These things, all these, they do not, in fact, na vyathayanti. They do not in any way create the vyatha. Vyatha means that they do not in any way create sorrow in him. These fellows, these pairs of opposites, do not create any perturbance, any disturbance in whom. So, who is unaffected by them? Now, unaffected in two ways. First level of being unaffected is by recognizing that this is how the life is, that they come and go. This is the relative level of being unaffected. But the absolute level of being unaffected is what? That this pleasure and pain, happiness and unhappiness, success and failure, all these pairs of opposites, what is the ultimate reality about them? So these are the appearances. A wise person recognizes that the success and failure are appearances of something else. It is something else that appears as success and failure. You see, when the physicists, when investigating matter, they find that sometimes a matter behaves like particle and sometimes a matter behaves like a wave, right? Sometimes like a particle, sometimes like a wave. So what is matter? Is it particle or wave? So what is the answer? That both the wave and particle, they are manifestation of something that transcends the wave and particle. See, when one person appears as an actor, as a king, same fellow appears as a beggar, then king and beggar are appearances of someone who transcends both king and beggar, namely actor. So when a given thing appears in this two mutually exclusive manner, that means that the reality is something that is beyond both of them, that transcends both of them. These are both appearances of something else. That particle is appearance or wave is an appearance of matter, of reality, which transcends both the particleness and waveness. Similarly, pleasure and pain, honor and dishonor, success and failure. What is the reality of them? The reality is that which transcends both of them. One reality appears as success, same reality appears as failure. One reality appears as honor, same thing appears as dishonor. What it is that which transcends both the honor and dishonor. Like one appearing as king now and appearing as beggar. That means the reality is one that is neither king nor that transcends both, which pervades both and transcends both. You understand this? So in fact it's something else. What can be, Swamiji? So one way of seeing the similarity or sameness of the two was to look upon them as prasada of Ishvara. That both are prasada, and that way both of them enjoy similarity. This is the relative similarity. What is the absolute similarity? Between success and failure, is there some similarity? Is there something that is equal in both of them? What is success is not failure, what is failure is not success. They are what we call dvandva, mutually exclusive. Can there be something which is same in both of them? That the whole relative world, even the science also says that this three-dimensional world is a projection of a higher reality. Vedanta says that the whole Vyavaharika world is a projection or manifestation of absolute reality, which is called Brahman or which is called the Self. What is that? So in success and failure, what is it that's the same? So with that, I don't expect an answer, but Vedantins will say this, that success is, failure is, you see, success is, failure also is. So isness is the same in both of them, isn't it? Although success is quite opposite to failure, but as far as isness is concerned, is it not true that success is and failure also is? And how do you know that something is? So take the case of this flower. This flower, is it there or not there? Is there a flower in my hand? Is it there? How do you say it is there? Is it there right now? No. Is it there now? So how do you say it is there now and was not there earlier? Because you see it. You say flower is because you see it, isn't it? So flower is and flower reveals itself, then only you can see it. Never asti and bhati. So success also is, that much we have to say. And failure also is. How do we say success is? Because success also reveals itself. How does the failure is? Because failure also reveals itself. Asti and bhati, both of them are common, same in success and failure. Will you say that? Otherwise success is one thing, failure is different thing, have nothing in common. But that asti and bhati, both of them are common or the same in success, failure, gain, loss, in all pairs of opposites. Is it not so? Just as one actor now appears as a king and then appears as beggar, that means one asti bhati sometimes appears as success, sometimes appears as failure. Meaning what? Just as the king and the beggar are just a costume, similarly also success and failure are costumes in which some other reality appears. But that requires a great tranquility of mind, great concentration of mind. To be able to let go the success and failure from your mind and focus attention on asti and bhati. You follow? When can you do that? When you have practiced letting go. Titiksha is a practicing. Hey, let it be. Success, let it be. Let it be. Only when I have developed this relative tranquility of the mind, that I do not get disturbed or do not react to these pairs of opposites, then I prepare myself for seeing something that in fact is beyond both of them, or that is what appears in that name and form, namely Asti or Bhati, which is Brahman, which is a self. So Lord Krishna, yam inavyasayante te purusham purushashava. This, all the changing opposite situations, navyasayante, those who do not disturb him, do not affect him, do not create any reaction in him. Who is it? Dhiraha. Dhira means a wise person, who has a wisdom, who realizes that success and failure are merely appearances. And what appears in those forms, in fact, is Ishvara. Whether Ishvara? Asti, Bhati, Priyam, Satchidananda. One Satchidananda Paramatma alone appears as success, alone as failure, alone as honor, alone as dishonor, alone as gain, alone as loss. Meaning that he sees the manifestation of Ishvara in whatever there is, then there is no question of his being affected or disturbed at all. Is it not so? Na vyasayantyete. Says nitya nitya swarupadarsanam. He sees that everything anitya always is manifestation of nitya. What we mean by that, this objective reality, changing reality that we experience, is manifestation of the changeless absolute reality, because relative cannot be without the absolute. The mithya cannot be without the satyam. The king and beggar cannot be without the actor. Similarly also, success and failures are merely costumes. They cannot be without the one who wears that costume, which is what? Asti Bhadi, Satchidananda Paramatma. So one who has that knowledge, that's the ultimate. Navyatyan, they do not disturb him at all. Because he is dhiraha, he is wise. So the one who was a titikshu, one who was putting up with the things in the beginning, he grows ultimately in your titiksha, you grow to such a point. Of course, teaching is taken for granted here, that teaching is there, but when that mind is exposed to the teaching, then that mind sees how, when you are totally unaffected by the form and name of success and failure, they can see that this is nothing but the play or manifestation of Asti Bhati Priyam, the same self. Purusham na vyasayanti dhiram. So he is the, so there were dhiraha. Dhira means what? Dhi means buddhi. Dhira means one who possesses the intellect, one who possesses the knowledge. He is called dhiraha. Samasukha dukham. Therefore one who is equal in sukha and dukkha. Again, sukha and dukkha stand for the pairs of opposites. They stand for failure, success, all pairs of opposites. There in all pairs of opposites, sama, one who has the sameness of the mind. In the beginning, the sameness is relative, that I see them as the prasada of the Lord, or I see them as inconsequential. I see them as coming and going, and that way I was same in terms of not being disturbed by them. But knowledge gives me absolute sameness, recognizing they are indeed same, they are indeed appearances of one Ishvara alone. Sa amrutatvaya kalpate. So one who has been able to maintain a relative tranquility of the mind, kalpate yogyo bhavati, becomes fit for the absolute amrutatvaya, immortality, meaning that he becomes fit for the knowledge of immortality. So Lord Krishna says that, hey Arjuna, endure these things. That practice of endurance will give you a frame of mind that can remain essentially undisturbed in spite of the changing situations. And thus, when you are able to command that relatively undisturbed frame of mind, you become fit for seeing the truth with Amrutam or immortality. Become fit for seeing the reality which is the absolute reality. So settling account with the relative reality is a means of knowing the absolute reality. What is settling account? That this is relative. Coming, going, let it be. Just let go. In our life, let go. It's a big thing. Hold on to something, it becomes a cause of stress and strain and sorrow. Let go. Even when Swami used to demonstrate even a simple thing, light thing such as this, if I hold on to this for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, then ultimately I'll get tired, isn't it? Holding on means what? Stress. Letting go, freedom. In life, holding on to things, stress. Letting go, freedom. Let go. Give the world the freedom to be what it is. Give the world the freedom to be what it is. Let the world have the freedom to insult me, okay. I respect you. To honor me, I respect you. To reward me with failure, I still respect you. Honor me with success, let it have the freedom. What is meant by freedom is, I continue to respect it regardless of what it is. Freedom is not being indifferent. Freedom being comfortable with what is. This is called giving freedom. That I remain comfortable within myself regardless of what the situation is. And that comfort that I develop as a matter of practice of titiksha or endurance makes me prepare for knowing the absolute sameness, which is means of moksha or liberation. So that is why these values are taught. That those values ultimately, what is deliberate becomes spontaneous. Deliberate is a value, spontaneous is knowledge. So that's how in these two verses Lord Krishna prescribes the value of titiksha or endurance. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeri Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.